All right, so I've been thinking like on the Machiavellian tip. Is it better to be loved or feared? And the fact of the matter is while knowledge would have it generally to rule by fear, it's a bit of both, of course, right? Because the things that we will violate less will be um, individuals or things that we love or care for more than ourselves. All right. And in such a matter, for a matter such as like your children, or your wife or your husband, or your family, you know you would have more of a fear of losing the love and relationship that you have with them, would be of the utmost concern, rather than someone um, having strictly being afraid of someone and doing what what they tell them. They would fear losing, okay, or having something taken from them or something being removed from them more pertaining to love. So therefore, I would say that it's actually better to be loved than it is to be feared. You see what I'm saying? But knowledge would have it off the basis of survival and supply and demand, that fear generates a motivation to put a battery in someone's back to get them to move, to be motivated by a particular thing. And, in other cases of the rationale, um, you know, individuals that have fear of love or fear of something to be ruled over, okay, and such commitment um, is a basis of knowledge, and that knowledge stifles growth. Pertaining to the tree in the garden, if all things were good and I didn't know what was evil, then I would have to experience evil things to know the difference between good and evil. So I would be left with, if I had only a tree with mixed fruit, okay, pertaining good fruit and evil fruit, all right, I would be left with circumstance and opportunity, or to try. I would have to try by trial and error all forms of the fruit, and this would pertain to knowledge, and this would correlate with science. Okay, because science, you have a hypothesis and you try things several times, and then you come up with a theory, and that's what it is. Okay, but I mean, going back to the original topic, you know, I would I have a deeper fear of losing someone I love than being afraid of some oppressive force. Um, to tell you the truth, so maybe it is a trick, a trick question, and maybe it's a trick answer. You see what I'm saying? Because you couldn't connotate that it's necessarily, it's the fear that you have of losing that love, which is something that you would be ruled over. But if you have love, for that to be taken away, to fear losing that, that would mean that it is better to be loved, in my opinion. All right. So that's how I feel on the circumstances of things that are Machiavellian, and how that links into the difference between knowledge pertaining to survival, pertaining to things of the flesh, and wisdom pertaining to life. As there's a different mentality for survival than it is for thriving. All right. Um, this next portion here, I'm gonna tell you about something that happened to me. The Bible says, "Be careful, because you may have entertained angels." Now, um, I knew this brother when I worked at a place doing security. And this brother one day had a conversation with me and told me about a time that he was at a fast food joint, and um, you know what I'm saying, he had gotten struck in the elbow, and he said that he was on water. Okay, he said that he was on water, and I was like, I don't know, I didn't know what water was, and he was like PCP. So here's the interesting thing, man. Pertain like later on in my life at that same job, there was a fight that broke out. Okay, outside, and I went outside to break it up because it was like young kids, pretty much. Like they're probably like in college or like college or junior college like type of age, right? And they were in the street, and as I was running out, someone told me like, "Don't go out there. They got a gun." But I was just thinking like they're young kids, right? So, anyways, I broke up this. I broke up this fight, and both parties started to go their own direction. Except one of the kids found a brick and decided to run back towards some other kids and try to hit him in the head with the brick. At which point, that dude pulled out a gun. All right, he pulled out a stick. All right, so he started shooting. Right, and I had got struck in the elbow, and it went clean through. Okay. And you know, in college, you know, that correlated with the story with the man that was at that fast food joint, and I think that they were fighting over a girl. So when you talk about fast food, we're talking about situations that you get involved with that's not a relationship, that's not meaningful, that's superficial, that doesn't have any deeper basis, and it's not necessarily with the right person, even for the circumstance of a moment. All right, because you're dealing with two different mentalities based upon how one survives. All right, and this could introduce negative things into your life. So this correlation that brought about the circumstance between these parties was over a girl to some degree, and this girl correlates with a certain type of fruit because this was the turnout of what happened between some people over this matter. All right, this evil fruit. All right, and in college, I released a motion reel because I went to school for motion graphic design, and the name of the song I used was by a band called Elbow, and the name of the song was called Grounds for Divorce. So when you talk about marriage and a commitment pertaining to spiritually with the Heavenly Father, then when we talk about adultery, we are talking about we are talking about things that supersede, all right, the activity, okay, which the activity is the symptom, all right, of maybe adult or some form of secret counsel that was not good, all right, manifesting into the physical plane, all right. So by the time that you don't prepare your mind and it comes point in time, you know what I'm saying, that you have interactions or you feel like there's a sin or a struggle or addiction you deal with, the issue is that by the time it gets to that point, I don't want to say that it doesn't mean anything, but it's too late. And you see, the actions you commit are only a symptom. They're only a symptom to your thoughts. So even if you force yourself to change your actions, right, as in robotically, as in biomechanically, you know what I'm saying? This is short-lived because the essence of your mind is going to be more powerful, in which you have to build up on things pertaining to the faith and the word of God, you know what I'm saying, in order to overcome those temptations when they arrive so that you can grow in the spirit in certain things. All right. So this I just want to bring out how all these correlations with elbow, how I was shot through the elbow, how this brother told me a story about how he got shot in the elbow and he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. You feel me? And I was in the wrong place at the wrong time and I got shot through the elbow. You know, I did not heed the warning. And maybe these things would be seen as irrational. Okay. But out of the circumstances that these young brothers was younger than myself and I was baptized, I just felt like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want to see that situation go down. I had a hard time just standing by. You know what I'm saying? And this was the situation where the brother was hit with the magic bullet because he got struck through the arm. Another dude got shot, right? And he got shot through the arm. And when I checked him, You know what I'm saying? I lifted up his shirt and everything because I was trying to check to see why he was bleeding out of the mouth, because we only found one bullet entrance wound that went into his arm. We did not see the other bullet wounds. Me and the other individuals with me, when I was checking to see if where that brother was struck, because I was going to try to apply pressure to that area, and there was no other entrance or exit points of bullets. He just had one shot through the arm, but he was bleeding out of his mouth. It was the most bizarre thing. And in the morning, I used to make juices, and I know this seems like it's all disconnected, but I'm just saying how these things affect my mind. When I have a juicer called a Magic Bullet, and I felt like that situation, Magic Bullet, that make that shit hard to forget. You know what I'm saying? Because like it's a mystery that cannot be solved, and I didn't hear anything further from that case. You know what I'm saying? So it's just interesting because that brother shared that story with me before that incident had taken place in my personal life, where I had got shot through the elbow. And pertaining to the fact that he was on PCP or water, the fact that it's called water, I correlate that with a spiritual high with the Bible, and that could have just been code for he was spiritually speaking to me out of the spirit of God, dropping game on me. You see what I'm saying? That could have been an angel. You know what I'm saying? And I had not been aware. Now, the next thing I was going to talk about was I seen They Cloned Tyrone on Netflix. It was produced very well. I like the style and the characters. This movie has came out before. It is a deep state movie, and the scene that was prominent, the last life cycle, was the scene about them eating the chicken, about what's in the chicken, and how marijuana can make individuals more pliable. You know what I'm saying? And how they felt like it was a conspiracy theory because everybody who was eating the chicken was laughing, which correlates with the fact that they more than likely had the munchies from getting high first, right? So that marijuana was given to black people to make black people more pliable, which that is an actual real thing. All right. Now, whether it makes an individual more pliable or not, to each its own. But I mean, in generalized sense, I guess weed makes the individuals relax more. Okay. But I had seen this movie, and another scene that stuck out to me that I want to bring up to individuals is they come out with these hit songs, and these hit songs is to bring you into remembrance in the spirit. You know, they had a song called "Got My Vans On, but they look like sneakers." Got my Vans on, but they look like sneakers, right? And these things are to stick in your mind as like tags. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, to bring into remembrance that in the film They Cloned Tyrone, there's a black van that drives around and pick up people in the inner city. Now, I've seen this shit before, unmarked black vans. And sometimes they have white vans as surveillance, but it'd be black vans, it'd be FBI vans or some shit like that. And they'll just pick up, like if somebody is tripping on the street, like some type of mental disability, people will just drive and pick them up, man. No reading your rights or anything like that. And this was normal in the inner city. And I think it was on Van Staples also. You see what I'm saying? About how these vans just pick people up off of the street. And you don't know if these individuals been cloned or not. You don't know what type of individuals you're around in society, or if individuals are plants or have different spirits other than God, meaning like they carry different principles than the ones that God would carry. And with these terms about the beast and everything like that, when you get into these different genres of individuals and they fetishes and things like that, oftentimes these individuals don the name of creatures, or they get really into, like right now, dog people is a big thing because a lot of people have dogs. And what they do is they utilize the dog's senses and his sight, even though the individual walking them doesn't seem to have the basic five senses, but are rather using the senses of the dog. So when the dog gets excited about a thing, then it is as if they are investigating. Now, I know this shit sounds crazy, but this is the shit that I witnessed, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are very into letting their dogs communicate with each other. You understand what I'm saying? There is a particular interest in the world and the way that dogs greet, and then there's the dog star and Canaanite gods and all of such matter. That these could be entities that are from the deep state, and then them trophy girls and things that be on like Murder She Wrote or How I Killed My Husband or some shit like that. Like these be like these trophy chicks that you don't see in society that be solicited on dating apps, them professional photos and shit like that. These be like dolls and stuff. It'd be like a regular human body or a clone, but like their spirit will be like from the deep state. And they'll be out on like conditional release in a different body. You know, you seen that TV show called Alter Carbon where they called the body sleeves and shit. I think that be going on too, to be honest. Because when you look in their eyes, they just be gone, man. They be gone. Their eyes just be black, man. Their eyes be gone and shit. Um, so yeah, it's just a deep state theory, right? I don't know for sure, but that's what I'll be thinking, man. And when you go on these campsites, start looking at the background of where these people are at. They're like in like little rooms and dungeons. Like this is like some Yakuza shit. Like maybe somebody owed a debt or something crazy like that. And I guess when their spirit goes out, it goes back to Illa, or it may go to some other place. They got some different rooms in here for punishment that's not good. And then their body goes into one of these places. These random drivers, they drive up and down your street and you don't know who they are. And you never seen their car before, and they seem to just come out of nowhere, always at the time that you walking. And you could tell by the speed and how they're driving, they're not from around that area. You know, it's like they came out of Portal and they just looking to pick niggas up, no different than they did that brother in the beginning of Get Out. You know, that's what I'll be thinking and shit. You know, and it's at like a societal level. You know, the guy's damn deer problem. You get me? It's odd out there. Um, I think that there, along with the trans movement, they had transracialism that many individuals forgot about, where it was like I don't know if it's a white girl that called herself black or a black girl that called herself white or whatever. And I think that with the mixture of these spirits, when they did CERN, I think these spirits start jumping from vessel to vessel, and I think they do it according to sex. And I think the more they do it, then they might particularly have became entangled and not know the original vessel that they were originally in. This is in the spiritual world. This is the theory that I'm sensing, and therefore we got the term entanglement. And in other terms, it's not what it looks like. Pertaining to the fruit in the garden, look good to eat. It looked good to the eye, the physical eye. But unto the mind, if there was any type of curiosity, than to understand that this fruit, you know, was not good fruit, just simply because God said so. It was, or she heard from Adam that God said that it was not good. You know, therefore she reasoned based upon superficial premise whether that fruit was good or evil, and subconscious in a way would have to disregard or believe that God was wrong, not necessarily that he lied when the serpent lied. So this world is like a dream world or a matrix, you know, or a womb. And the seed buried in the earth, that would be the mind. You see what I'm saying? So when we talk about having visions and things of this nature, when we think about the matrix and inception, all these things are tied together, right? That's what I believe. And there was like a pipeline, and that pipeline is Christ. And I believe, and don't say this is a theory, but I believe that is Ray. And when you have that pipeline that makes all our dreams linked together, that we are able to experience this collective reality in which there are different realms as well. It's just a theory, but that's what I be thinking. So when CERN, when you were able to open the doors, just like we see in Avengers Endgame, and all these portals open and things of this nature, I believe for certain individuals it caused entanglement, and certain individuals got lost, and that's at the point that they came out with low-key variant, where there were so-called time variants and all these what if series. You know, it was an echo or reflection of what was happening in the spiritual world. Okay. And I believe that the meek inherited the earth. I think some people went to Illa, and I think that other people went to some other place. They got some other places, like in that nerd wallet where the girl just shoots up in the air and it's like, blah, 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 blah. They got like different little torture rooms and stuff in here. If you act up, you know what I'm saying? But the pipeline that connects us all together, I believe that that's what individuals call Ray. So Adam and Eve, I believe that they could have possibly died and was in a secret world. And that secret world being a dream, and not knowing that they were in a dream and that they were still alive in the spirit. It's just that now they base reality on object permanence. Therefore, they worried about a covering. And he made them coats of skins, meaning flesh. All right, which may have been tainted. Okay, this just a theory, you guys. All right. So the reflection issue is if you have to try all the fruits and what have you, and you are working in a situation where you have to know all the curiosities of why something is the way it is, that you learn by rudimentary and linear knowledge rather than going to God and trying to understand the spirit of a matter, that you can understand all things. It's the basis of counting all the counterfeit bills versus knowing what a real bill looks like, to know all the bills that are counterfeit. It's like to be reprobate or working backwards. And this is as a snake, okay, which correlates with the name Jacob, and Jacob correlates with knowledge. And a lot of times we go according to the knowledge of science, and he with the most knowledge wins and therefore rules. And that can be reflected by money, but it's not necessarily, okay? Because the perception in regard of what success is, all right, is in the eye of the beholder, unless he leans to wisdom. But there would be, for every wisdom, for all the wisdom that there is and all the wisdom that is not had, so many mistakes and casualties based upon individuals' brightness of reason. You see what I'm saying? And this perpetuation of society would be based upon martyrs. And their growth would be step by step according to knowledge, as walking versus being able to fly in the spirit. And things would become more difficult. This is what I believe as well. But anyways, with that being said, I covered just some topics or whatever. I guess I'll call this Charlie Brown Beatnik 3. I'm out. Peace.